The law in Zimbabwe is so many things. To the person who has been arrested, the law can potentially mean the difference between freedom and imprisonment. To the man of business and commerce, compliance with the law can ultimately determine whether he is making a profit or a loss. To the Zimbabwe Republic police officer and the lawyer alike, the law is a tool that is used for a job and also a matter of bread and butter. But to the ordinary Zimbabwean citizen, the law is everything. The law determines and dictates what you may do, when you may do it, and how you may do it as well. In this fast-paced digital world that we now live in, every action or inaction has legal consequences. Ignorance of the law has never been and will never be a defense. But worry not, because the Law Abiding Citizen podcast, powered and brought to you by Munangati and Associates, is there to help. And we help by making sure that you are legally aware, you stay informed about legal developments as they happen in real time. Secondly, the LAC podcast is there to make sure that the ordinary Zimbabwean citizen understands the application of the law in the day-to-day life. Thirdly, and most importantly, the LAC podcast is there to serve as a bridge between the ordinary Zimbabwean citizen who needs to access justice support mechanisms, whether be it in government institutions or private institutions. So welcome to the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. My name is Tulani Mututa, the orator for the law, your friendly neighborhood lawyer. Today we have an exciting episode lined up for you. We're going to be discussing the Small Claims Court and also the Integration Electronic Case Management System that has been introduced by the Judicial Service Commission to digitize our courts of law. Thereafter, we will discuss the 2024 budget and the implications it has on the law, as well as give you a content plan for 2024 that we have planned for you as the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. So let's jump into it. The law in action. Welcome back to the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. We are now getting into the first segment where we're going to be talking about the Small Claims Court procedure and the digitization of the courts of law through the Integrated Electronic Case Management System. So the Small Claims Court is established in terms of the Small Claims Court Act, and it provides a really cheap remedy that you can use whenever you want to claim money that is owed to you by someone. So you have to begin by getting what is known as a letter of demand form. And in this letter of demand form, you basically write your cause of action or the reason why you are saying someone owes you money. And this letter of demand, you collect it at the Magistrate Small Claims Court. It's for free. You don't even have to pay anything to get it. After that, you have to wait for 7 days from the time that you serve that letter of demand, and then you go and issue out what is known as a summons. So as I've already said, the Small Claims Court is a cheap remedy that is available to the ordinary Zimbabwean citizen. You only have to pay $2 to issue out that summons. And after that summons has been issued out, you will get a court date where you will go before a magistrate and basically explain your claim and basically have the matter heard. So we're now getting into the other important issue, the Integrated Electronic Case Management Systems. So this is a rather new way that the Judicial Service Commission has used to improve access to justice and also access to the courts of law. But look, don't take it from me. Let's hear it from the Permanent Secretary of the Judicial Service Commission, Mr. Walter Chikwana, as he explains to us what the IECMS is all about.
The Integrated Electronic Case Management System is, in broad explanation, the process of digitizing the courts, where the filing of papers, the filing of pleadings and processes is now being done electronically. The hearing of matters is also now being done by virtual means. So you don't need to travel, for example, to Harare for you to access a court.
Right, as you heard the Permanent Secretary state, the Integrated Electronic Case Management System is there to digitize the courts of law. So in 2023, this was received with a bit of mixed feelings as legal practitioners, clerks of courts were still getting the hang of the system. But it's really simple to understand this IECMS platform. All you need to do is enter the Google search term, go online, and then look at the training manual that is there. If you want videos as well on how to use the IECMS, they are all available. So this is definitely a welcome initiative by the JSC that we applaud as well, as virtual hearings are now being done online without the hassle of having to go to court and appear physically before a judge. So there you have it, folks. That was really the highlight of the LAC podcast in 2023. We are now moving into the 2024 national budget that caused a lot of public outcry, as we just basically explained the process as it happened, with the Minister of Finance taking the lead, Mr. Mthuli Ncube, as he explained how exactly these amendments to the national budget came about. So let's watch the first video as we hear the minister articulate the issues that made the pressure to change the budget as it was before the amendments were implemented.
Of course, being a budget that went through a very robust debate, I was happy with the debate in public. Also very pleased with the quality of the debate in Parliament, with the chairperson of the committees, who also consulted the public. When I look at it, I think this is probably one budget in my last 5 years as minister where the public has shown a lot of interest and have contributed to certain amendments and changes, which I welcome. So what we did in the end on some of the taxes, we amended those in response to what the honourable members were proposing, what the public was proposing.
So yes, you heard that. The minister is right. Due to the public outcry, due to the pressure from Parliament and Senate, the budget had to be revised. And it had to be revised in several aspects, particularly the issues that have to do with the toll gate fees. They had levied a 100% increment on all toll gates, which was really outrageous and would have put a dent in travelers' pockets as the toll gate fees were now high. But after all this public outcry, after the push from the public came, the toll gate fees were then reduced and only added up to 50% increment. So this is as well a vivid portrayal of how exactly the public can also participate in the making of policy and in the making of laws. The other issue was with regards to the passport price hikes that was announced by the national budget. So the price hike had taken the passport that is currently charged for $120 now up to $200. So after review and debate in Parliament, this came down to $150, as only $30 is going to be added on that passport price. But however, for those express passports that only take 24 hours to be issued out, unfortunately there were no changes. And as you will hear when we played the video on the amendments by the minister, it is because people who go and apply for these passports usually are able to pay for them and they have the resources. Well, except in 1 or 2 cases where there may be an emergency that may compel one to get that emergency passport.
And also we've said that if you're living in your primary residence, you shouldn't be paying any tax on this, because that's a roof over your head. We don't want to be taxing anyone. On the toll fees, we debated. In the end, the members of Parliament moved that really we should reduce the increase. So the increase then came down to 50% in terms of the toll fees, as opposed to 100%. And the public transporters are exempt, buses are exempt from this extra increase in taxes. Then on the passports, again, we reduced the increase on passports. We added another $30 US, so it's now 150 for ordinary passports. But on the express 24-hour passport, that one is still a premium passport. So that was raised to 250 for the type of passport. Those who need that kind of passport typically can afford it. Of course, we know there are emergencies too. We are aware there will be outliers, emergencies, we accept, but really.
So there you have it, folks. That's the national budget in 2024, and we are keen to see exactly how it's going to have implications on the legal aspects as well. The implications are going to come from the fact that look at issues like insurance. Issues like insurance would then mean that the government who also have claims to do with, and also the law applying in altering the statutory instruments to make sure that they align to the 2024 budget. So 2024 is going to also be an exciting year for the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. We're going to be focusing on criminal law, we're going to be focusing on civil law, intellectual property law, but most importantly, we are going to be coming to the streets and talking to individuals daily so that we understand whether the ordinary Zimbabwean citizen is appreciating the application of the law in their day-to-day life. We will also make sure that we keep it groovy and informed so that we entertain you whilst we are educating you. So there you have it, folks. That's a roundup. This episode was rather short, but make sure that you make a date with us and catch us next year as we have these exciting episodes lined up for you and this exciting content that will make sure that you stay law abiding and stay legal wise. So until next time, once again, my name is Tulani Mututa, orator for the law orator, your friendly neighborhood lawyer, and your proud host for the Law Abiding Citizen podcast. So we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2024.